will be right back.
Awesome.
Uh,
Good timing.
so, yeah, exactly. So you can do the intro and everything. Be
Yeah,
right back.
I got you, man. All right, hello everyone. Thank you for coming and checking us out. We are The Rough Craft, a podcast centered around creating new story ideas while enjoying nice, tasty beers. We do so. As always, I'm your host, Tom, and with me as well, who just took a second to do something, is my best friend in the world, Matt Clark. We like to make rough drafts while drinking good crafts. Today, and I'll probably reiterate this once Matt gets back, what we're doing is we're going to go through and we're going to try to come up with a new story based on a classic, RPG trope. The orphan child, downtrodden, terrible beginnings, upbringings. Oh, there he is. You back? There he is. You back? You good?
I'm back. Okay.
You want to go and do the intro again with both of us, or just leave it the way it is? Doesn't matter.
No,
to me.
I'll leave it the way you are. I
All right,
can't wait
man.
to listen to it.
Sounds good. I said a lot of mean things about you. So today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through, like I was saying, kind of a RPG trope. Most RPGs start this way, where you have this orphan kid, and he goes and becomes great. And I got this idea from watching my wife playing Fable. She was playing Fable 2. Everybody's heard about Fable 4 coming out, so it's kind of the bee's knees at the moment. So a lot of people's going through playing the old Fable games. My wife's playing Fable 2, and I was thinking, you start off as an orphan in that game. You kind of start off as an orphan in the first game. Your parents die. And so let's do a story where it's just some sort of orphan kid. Who knows? It may not necessarily be an orphan, but starts from a bad situation. And instead of him growing up and overcoming adversity and becoming this great hero, he actually life just continues to get worse and worse. Similar to the Gambler's Ruin thing we did before. His life just keeps getting...
I was about to say.
It's like he's in a fantasy world, and his life just keeps getting worse, and he turns to crime, or who knows what he does. But that's the sort of idea that I want to go for today.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Sounds good. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce the beers that we're going to have today. I'll go ahead and introduce mine first.
Okay.
I'm actually under quarantine right now because I have somebody near and dear to my heart has actually come down with the COVID. So I'm quarantining myself. I don't have it as of right now that I know of, but I am exposed, as they say. So the beer that I have today was nothing. I wasn't able to go to any fancy beer store and get the beer that I wanted. So, but I got a good beer. It's a good go-to beer. It's a Yingling. Yingling is a good beer. Really enjoy it. Get it in the cans. That's the best way to drink it. You get it in bottles, they tend to be a little bit skunky.
Mm-hmm.
So what about
you don't got a beer can?
Huh? No, I haven't set that up. For the future.
For the future. I'm having a nice Blue Moon. Mango wheat.
I've had those. I think I've actually had those on previous editions of the podcast.
You did, and I had to try it. I hadn't tried it yet. And
you haven't had it yet today or anything?
I haven't. Nope.
I'm a big fan of mango in general, so I really like those. They are very sweet.
I want to do the summer ale from Boston Lager.
Mm-hmm.
But I drank those while I was cutting grass today. So.
Well, I'll tell you, as far as Sam Adams goes, I love Sam Adams. Sam Adams Boston Lager is my favorite beer. Let's get us a nice pop the top. There we go.
Ooh, oops. I already popped it.
Huh?
I said, oops, I already popped it.
Oh, no, I already popped mine, too. I was just getting a good one for the audio. Let me get a nice can pour here.
Am I coming through loud enough? I'm having to, whisper. I do not want to wake that baby up again.
Yeah, I think you're coming through fine on my end. If I'm say something for me. Yeah. Your audio is pretty equal with mine, and I'm actually trying to speak louder because I tend to speak quietly. So yeah, I like mango a lot. I've had that one before. They are very sweet. Which all Blue Moons tend to be sweet because it's a wheat beer in general.
Yeah, this is very good. I really like this. I like mangoes to begin with. So.
Yeah, me too. Exactly. I'm a big mango fan.
Don't like them in vape fluid though.
Really?
Like the worst thing. They kill my coil.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm a big fan of them even in vaping. Red's mango. They tend to be strong though, very strong indeed. All right, so let's dust them cobwebs off and try to come up with a new story here. Anything else we need to talk about? Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and hit a little bit of news real quick before we get into this. How's things going with the book?
I haven't heard from my editor, so hopefully good.
No news
is good news.
Yeah, I was going to say no news is good news. Hopefully. All right, so let's get started now. Hopefully this won't be too slow. We've done these live streams before, and we've had to explain. There's times where whenever you're brainstorming to come up with ideas, there's times where there's just some dead silence going on. That's just kind of nature of the beast when it comes to these sort of things. So we'll just kind of work through there, and I'll go ahead and. Oh no, I guess I can't necessarily use any music if I'm gonna upload this to a video form later on YouTube, but
You can use royalty free.
yeah, but I have to look up royalty-free music instead of just playing a playlist I already have set up. I'll set up a playlist in the future, and we'll do that. But for right now, let's get into it. So,
Go ahead. This is your brainchild. So what?
Well, I mean, it's not much
setting?
not much of a brainchild yet. So what do you think as far as the premise that I'm going with? Do you think it's good, bad, and different?
I think it's a good premise. Like you said, it's kind of like Game of Thrones, except I mean everything goes bad.
Yeah.
So
and
there's no coin flip.
And it's weird. It's like whenever I say bad, things don't necessarily have to go bad for him. I see it more as like just he doesn't become this. He basically becomes a bad guy. I don't even necessarily want to say an anti-hero. He's like a bad guy. So things could go good in his criminal world or whatever. So, but basically we're telling the story of a kid who was down on his luck that became a villain, basically. And so
Okay.
maybe we'll come up with the hero of the story that isn't our character and all that stuff. It's kind of like, I think it's been done before, but telling the story
Well, yeah,
from
'cause
the
they
point of
did
view
this-
of the bad guy.
They did this in the Telltale Batman game. They had Bruce Wayne and his tragic life, but he became a hero. And then they had Oswald Cobblepot, who had the same kind of life as Bruce Wayne, but his parents died. I don't remember if he killed him or not, but either way, he just a bad Bruce Wayne. Basically, that's what they made the Penguin.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, so something similar to that then. So, I haven't put any more thought into it other than what I've already said so far.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you think is because it kind of makes it easy because we can go with any sort of cliche beginning that we want to because we're telling a story that's not as cliche, I guess is the idea. But do you think this kid's what would you say? I'm just because I haven't really come. What would you say right off the bat? What would you say is his starting point in life? Is his parents died? Was he just born and dropped off at a church? What do you think?
I think this guy's gonna have a rough childhood, and I think it's gonna be his parents. I don't think his parents are dead. I just think they're pieces of shit.
Oh, Harry Potter situation, except instead of his aunt and uncle, it's his madre and padre. It's padre.
Oh yeah, I forgot Harry Potter had that kind of.
Yeah, similar.
Yeah. But yeah, I think his parents are just real pieces of shit. They make him eat Carolina Reapers every night. And,
Oh boy, how'd they get those in that fantasy world? Let's find out.
Oh, this is a fantasy world. I didn't know that. Did we talk about a setting?
Yeah, this is gonna be a fantasy world. It's gonna be
Okay.
like it's gonna be just I see like a regular high fantasy, like Tolkien style world, something like that. The world doesn't matter. We'll build that as we go. Nothing need. We can use cliche stuff, whatever we want to do.
Well, the Carolina Reaper thing was a joke because I just noticed I still have
It'll be Avalon Reapers. He's from the land of Avalon.
shit on my monitor still from when I spit out some pepper.
Okay. Oh, so you didn't eat all 5 of the peppers.
Oh, shut up. I'm thinking his father's a failed farmer.
Well, real quick, just because I like the name, Avalon, I'm sure that's something already, but I use that, so I like that name, and I'm going to keep that name as the name of the world, or at least the region that they're in is Avalon. And I'm jumping real far into the future here, but I like the idea of him becoming the Avalon Reaper. That'll be him as a villain. Like maybe he's some sort of guy that just murders people in the streets. We'll see where we get to.
I actually like that a lot. I think that's a really good idea.
I like that too. All right, so go ahead with what you were saying about his parents.
I think his father is a failed farmer. He tries to grow crops. They just don't work out. He's got a cow. It doesn't produce milk. His mom's a prostitute to try to make up money.
Oh yeah, that's And so, what would he spend? Where does she prostitute at? Is there a brothel, or does she do it straight out of the home?
Um, yeah, I say she visits a brothel.
Well, if we're doing that, then he's at his dad. They have a farm, so she has to leave the farm to go to the town to get into the brothel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, some days, now his father wants him to be in the field with him working. But some days his father's just so depressed. He's scared to stay with his dad on those days, and he goes with his mom to town. So he goes with her to town, and then he meets up with these these kids, these like orphans, and they're pickpocketed and shit, and he falls into that crowd.
Okay, cool. I like this. I think this is working out fine. So I want to go back to the cow, right? So the cow, you said the cow's not doing so well, so the cow's like on its last leg.
Mm-hmm.
So his dad's got a one-legged cow trying to hold this farm together. I could see the struggle there. That's a shitty joke I wanted to do.
On the other side of the country, we have the same situation, except the mother is a caring mother. She's not a prostitute. The father still is a field farmer. They have a bad cow, and he takes the cow to market and sells it for magic beans.
Okay. Are we gonna follow that story along at any point? Or is that's just the parallel that's happening right now?
He's basically Jack and the Giant Beanstalk guy.
Oh yeah. So this character, his name's John and the no beanstalk. I don't know why they call him that.
John and the one-legged cow.
Yeah, John and the one-legged cow. So I hate that I keep putting this on you, but I'm curious what's happening next. Is let's get a better name than John though.
Jake.
All right, so Jake.
No, just kidding. Think of a name.
Okay. What is their family name? Let's see.
Alistair.
This is the part where we don't say anything for a while. So Alistair is their last name. What does that say about the family?
Hold on. It's up to you to carry this. 1 second.
Trying to think of a name for this character. So if you hear me being quiet, that's what I'm doing. Oh, are you watching? We got 2 viewers right now. Hey, how's it going?
No, I'm only on my phone, making sure the audio came in.
Oh, cool. So we'll appreciate you guys here. Right now is the part where we're gonna probably be silent, trying to figure out exactly what it is we want to name this character. And while we're doing that, enjoy the pictures of our nice, delicious beers, the Yingling and the Blue
Mango
Moon.
wheat.
That's what we're having. Yeah, Matt has him a nice Blue Moon Mango Wheat, and I'm drinking a nice traditional lager, Yingling from America's oldest brewery.
How about Alistair Connors?
Connors. I don't like the name Connors. I'm on the fence about Alistair.
Okay.
I do like the name Alistair because a lot of times I feel like Alistair to me sounds like a bad name, like a bad guy name. But a lot of times it's used as like a good guy name, and I just don't see it that way. So let's use Alistair.
Okay, Alistair. Alistair Mandark.
Mandark.
Maverick.
Alistair Maverick. What is? I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that fits in the setting.
Alistair One Cow.
See, that's what I was trying to think. I was trying to think of something to do with the cow, and I was thinking of one leg, and then I was thinking of bone. So the name Marrowood came in my head. Alistair Marrowood, and it's just marrow from bone, and doesn't really make sense. We could call I don't know that because it depends like on fantasy names and also like names of older generations, like the names, the origin of names usually has something to do with like the area that they lived in and various different things, the jobs and stuff. So
well, how about this? Maybe his family was a family that first discovered the bone forest.
The bone forest. Well, if they're the first people to find the bone forest, I imagine that's a noteworthy thing to have done, since we are stating that they are the first ones to find it. So then let's do that. Let's have his dad just be a guy with bad luck, and he found the bone forest. So his his name was
I
whatever.
was thinking like his great grandfather found the bone forest and reported it back to the town, and the town's like, well, we gotta stay away from the bone forest. Thanks. What's your last name? He's like, I don't have one. I'm an orphan. He's like, Marrowood.
Well, I was thinking like maybe they found the bone forest and his dad let his buddy know about it, and they were going in on it. His buddy cut him out of the situation, and he is now basically he's watching his buddy become rich off of the discovery that he made.
It's not really. I don't see it as a rich type of thing. It's just this is scary. Let's warn people.
Okay, that works. So there's so I don't know. I find it hard to think of this guy finding the bone forest first, or I guess like you said, generations ago. So generations and generations ago, his ancestors found the bone forest.
Maybe
the
they
Marrowood.
live in the hamlet outside of Avalon,
Yeah.
the kingdom of Avalon. So they live in the hamlets.
His great grandfather found Marrowood, and wait, what's that? Morrowind. God damn it. But he found Marrowood, and I would say that some sort of a curse was then put on his family, and that could be part of why they're just destined to have bad luck, maybe.
They're destined to have bad luck, so they can. The bone forest will have its king, the Reaper.
Oh, the Reaper.
He has a
Marrowood,
destiny.
the Avalon Reaper. Okay, we're building something here. What's it mean? Who knows? We'll get there. So, okay, so, do you want to think of names for the parents, or you just want to call them Mr. and Mrs. Marrowood for right now?
Yeah, that's fine. They're not really that important. They're probably about to die soon.
Yeah, most likely. So, Alistair Marrowood, he's been following his mom to the brothel here and there on the days where his dad's too drunk to get out of bed, and but also drunk enough to put a right hand upside his son's head for no reason. So, he's been going there, and he's met up with these orphan kids, and I guess kind of, what would you say? Would you say that he's like one of the followers, or?
In the beginning, out he's the follower, but as the anger builds up, after the more his parents fight, the more his dad beats him, the more vicious he gets. And then, when they rob somebody, the boys are basically done. They beat the kid that they robbing, but Alistair is just like, nah, fuck this guy. He's rich. Beats the shit out of him, caves his head in.
I need some more build up going into whatever it is that's happening where our character's about to kill a guy for the first time. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I need more there. I can't just go straight into he's killing somebody.
I'm just saying, just that anger builds up. He doesn't kill him. Maybe he just goes a little bit too far in the beating.
Okay. Here's what I was thinking is he's going and hanging out with these kids and stuff like that, and he does something like that. Like he gets caught stealing or something. It gets back to his dad and everything, and he's in trouble. And at this point, he's already done stuff like that. Like he's already been beating people. He's already he's started becoming a ruthless kind of person. His dad, and he's got the anger from his dad, anger from these kids, telling him what to do and everything. And so he ends up murdering his dad.
Well, how about wait. Getting a little bit too far because I have a plan for this.
Okay. Well, you go ahead with your plan.
This goes on for years. Where he's hanging out with these kids.
Well, how old was Alistair when we first met him? Would you say like 8? I was thinking 6 or 8.
I was thinking good old Pokemon age of 10 years old.
Okay.
But we can do 8.
Yeah, let's do 8. I think it's a happy middle.
And I think let's say 8 years. This goes on for 8 years. And then his friends, they're teenagers. His friends are old enough. They go in the brothel and have sex with his mom.
So for years he's been hanging out. He's been hanging out with this bad gang of kids, getting in trouble, stealing. I would say let's say that there's some sort of an organization that they work for, like some sort of small mob thing. Just so there's some sort of organization.
Like at first they were just pickpockets, but then they became absorbed in this bigger gang.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I actually have a thing for this. I don't want to use my other stuff, but I have something. It was called Kalaki's Kids, It was this guy who actually would take all the orphan kids and he would use them to be his pickpockets and eyes around the city and stuff like that. And once they became of age, he would then he's like a good bad guy. He's been saving money from all the stuff these kids have been doing for them, kind of like a college fund. And once they become of age, he gives them a bit of money for them to go off and kind of do their own thing.
Okay.
And it's just one.
Yeah.
It's just one arm. That's kind of like the recruitment arm of this wider organization. So we could say that this guy named Kalaki, this is his thing. He's kind of absorbed these kids, and he's been kind of like the one giving them the jobs. Here, go do this, and stuff like that. So what was you saying?
No, I was just saying that these kids just have enough money. They have sex with his mom, and then they make fun of him for it, and then he's angry.
And so, what age do you say this happens?
16.
You said he's 16 or they're 16?
They're all 16. The group of
Okay,
kids.
so all the kids are the same age as him?
Well, no, like there's some like 17, 18, 15, 14.
See, that's what I was saying. Like, he gets started at 8. The other kids are kind of been in it. They're like, some of them are like 12. That's why he's picked on. He's the younger kid and all that sort of stuff. And once they get the age of 16, that's when they get their inheritance from Kalaki. And some of them then use that money to go to the brothel. And a few of them have sexual intercourse with his mother.
Mm. And boy, is he mad. He is fuming.
Okay, so I would say at this point he's like age 12. How do you feel about that? He's 12. These kids are like 16 because he was like 8.
14.
All right, let's say 14. He's 14. These kids have just went and defiled his mother. Just destroyed her.
Well, let's not go that far. Relations were had.
Yeah. Of a
So
sexual nature.
would you picture him being more angry? I know he's angry at the kids, but who's he more angry at? His mom for being in that situation where he's put in that situation, or the kids?
I would say because his mom doesn't know any better necessarily. I feel like
maybe. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say for a lot of it, she's just kind of doing what she has to do to get by and help support her family. The husband's the real root cause of all this. He's the reason she's having to be in that position in the first place. And also, but I mean, I think he's mad at everybody equally. I think mostly he's mad at his dad and the kids, though.
Yeah, so I'm saying, like, he met Kalaki. He used Kalaki as a father figure instead of his dad. And so he's mad at his dad for not being a real man, taking care of the family, and putting all of them in this situation. So maybe this is where he murders his dad.
Okay, so I would say there's a scene where he goes back to Kalaki and he explains all this to him and says, "Look, I'm tired of this. All these other kids are. Ever since I've joined, I've been treated lower than everybody else. Now they're over here just throwing it in my face. They went here and had sex with my mother." And everything. And he's like, "Well, what's your dad doing throughout all this?" He's like, "He's probably just at the house drunk." He's like, "I think that's more of the problem." And Kalaki, as a way to kind of free the boy in Kalaki's mind, and also to help, if the boy is free from his home life, then he can dedicate more to the organization that they have. So he helps talk him into going and murdering his dad one day. And so and you stop me and you can change this if you want, but this is the way I'm seeing it right now. So he makes the plan. Kalaki gives him some sort of a knife, and one night while his dad's he's just sitting there, he's thinking about it, trying to decide whether this is what he wants to do when his dad's in a drunken stupor, and his dad comes out and hits him, and then that's when it just clicks. He's like, "I'm doing this," and he just stabs his dad, just like one of those murders of passion. Like you'll find these people that have been stabbed hundreds of times or something like that, and like that's what he did. He just kept stabbing. His mom walks in and she's screaming and she's trying to get him off of him. Things happen and he doesn't mean for it to happen, and he ends up stabbing his mom as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point he just leaves the knife in there and he just runs. He gets out of there.
Does he go back to Kalaki or does he go on the run?
I don't know. I think it depends, because I was thinking he would go back to Kalaki, but if he goes back to Kalaki, works for him, gets to the age of 16, 18, he'll be given his little inheritance and then be able to go about his business. But if he runs completely, then he has nothing. So one way is worse than the other. So it kind of depends.
Say he goes back to Kalaki, and Kalaki's like, "You do it?" And he's like, "Yeah, I did it." And he's like, "All right, where's my dagger?" He's like, "Oh, I left it." Now this dagger, say it's some kind of special dagger that only the organization has. Like the blacksmith, they have a special blacksmith that crafts these things.
Oh, so this will have a marking on it that'll let them know who did it.
Yeah.
It'll all
So
come
he's
back
like,
to them.
yeah, he's like, you're putting heat on his kid, and Clanky's like, I'm sorry, you gotta leave, you gotta get out of here. Yeah, I'll give you what you have in your inheritance, but you gotta get out of the town. You gotta get out of the city.
I don't know. I don't like that because I don't think in that situation I don't think Kalaki would, because at the end of this is a crime organization. I don't think he would show him any kindness in that situation.
Okay, so
I think the
they
two
have
options would be either Kalaki basically attacks him, or like he's gonna turn him into their head guy, or he says, look, you need to go back and get that knife for us. So I think it could be interesting to see him go back to get that knife, and then maybe this is where something strange could happen. He could go there and see some sort of, like, we talked about the Marrowood, and there could be like some sort of banshee type creature there coming to collect his father and bring him to the Marrowood as part of their curse or something. And then he sees this, and it just, I don't know, it's just something he sees that freaks him out, and he has no idea what's going on. Collects the dagger, runs back to Kalaki, or he just never goes and interacts with Kalaki, and he just goes on the run completely.
I'm thinking. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I don't know if you heard it, but she was.
Oh,
I think she soothed herself back to sleep.
but I like the idea of trying to bring that sort of dark fantasy element into it.
Yeah. I think what happens is, if Clanky and him doesn't have a really good relationship, it's just strictly business. I think Clanky attacks him and beats him pretty good. And he's like, go back, get the dagger. And so brutalized.
Let's go back. I'm not saying that him and Clacky has a bad relationship. I'm saying they probably do have a good relationship. But in the confines of the organization, he's not mad at the kid because of what happened. He's mad because he knows the punishment he's going to receive because of this kid's failure. Because it's his fault that he gave the kid the knife in the first place. So that's why I don't think he would just be like, here's some money, get out of here before things get too... Because he's going to feel that pain. He's going to be the one that's going to get attacked by the rest of the organization. Whoever the leader is going to come down on him. So
like he was the head guy or not. So
oh no, he's like the recruiting leg of this bigger, broader organization. When kids get to 18, some of them get recruited into separate branches of the organization. Some of them just go on about doing their own thing and just actually live a normal life. It's up to them at that point. But for the most part, everybody goes and they pick a separate branch, and they become they try to move up in the ranks of this criminal organization.
Okay. All right.
So,
yeah.
I would think he's mad at the kid and probably slaps him around a little bit. But I don't think he would beat him within an inch of his life or anything like that.
Well, no, I'm just saying, I'm beating Alistair goes back to his house and trying to retrieve the dagger.
Okay. Do you like the idea of the banshee being there collecting his father's body or anything like that?
Mm-hmm.
Leaves the mother's body there, and I would say maybe she's still alive or something, and he has to pull the dagger out of her body, and whenever he pulls it out, that's when she finally dies. Again, dark, bad stuff. This kid's life just gets worse and worse is the idea. So
I'm trying to think if the dagger has any properties in it where the banshee wouldn't want to take the body.
I don't think so. It does, I mean, this isn't a magical dagger. It's just a dagger that's a part of this organization that is made in a specific way. I would say just doesn't take her mother because that's not the bloodline. She's not the bloodline of the Marrowood. There's no reason to take her. She married into the family. She's not a part of it as far as the bloodline goes. So his dad would be taken, and then he would be taken, and like maybe the banshee says something to him now. She says, one day we'll come for you. And he's like, and he runs.
He leaves the dagger there.
He leaves the dagger there?
I would say he leaves the dagger there.
Okay.
Because he runs. He doesn't go back to the city. He takes off. He's fucking terrified.
Okay.
He saw a ghost. And what's his name? Kalaki.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, where the fuck is Alistair with my dagger? and he sends the boys out to the house. One
Okay.
of the to look for Alistair, but Alistair's gone. So the question is, do we want a time skip or do we
Well,
want to explore his?
what I was thinking is like the first leg of his adventure on his own is him. Kalaki sends people out to get him because he's trying to get to him before the other people find out what had happened and information gets back. So he's, or maybe it did happen. Maybe the dagger was found out and heat came down on the organization. They were able to kind of wiggle out of it because they have their, they have their fingers in different pots and they're they're organized. They have enough people out there. They're bribing. They're in the pockets of enough people. That's the word. So they're able to kind of wiggle out of it. But they're putting pressure down on Kalaki because of this. So Kalaki has to send people out, the other kids out to go find him. And so that's kind of the first. So like in Lord of the Rings, you got the ring wraiths chasing after Frodo. You now have these other kids around the same age, a little bit older than Alistair, chasing him, trying to find him while he's trying to, I guess, do whatever it is he's trying to do now.
So what is he trying to do?
Well, as of right now, his only objective is to
Get away.
is to run. Yeah. So I would say I don't know exactly what would happen. I would say that he would maybe run to another town and just get back to his pickpocketing and stuff. And
maybe he, first of all, he's scared of the Banshee. He doesn't want to go anywhere near the city. But now he knows Kalaki is going to be looking for him because he didn't return.
Yeah.
So he's trying to, maybe he changes his name. His name is Strider now.
I don't know about Strider, but
but he changed his name. He has an alias, and he's just trying to rob people.
Well, how about
to make enough money to get away.
How about this? Let's say so you're saying he's still in the same town or he's in a new town?
He's in a new town.
He's in a new town. I would say that he's robbing people, and at some point, he's already killed before, and it's gotten much easier in his mind to kill. So
I wouldn't say that yet.
Well, this is the boy that grows up to be the Avalon Reaper. We gotta get him there.
But we're gonna get him there by one of the boys, because the boys split up. One of the boys finds him in the town when he's pickpocketing, and he's like, Alistair, and he's like, John, and they talk. And he's like, you gotta come back. Like, he's looking for you. He's really mad. And Alistair's like, I'm not going back, man. I'm not going back. There's stuff going on in that town that I don't want to I don't have any part of. And he's like, too bad you're coming back. And then the two fight. And what happens is the boy pulls a dagger, but Alistair is able to position himself to get the knife and control the guy's arm and kill him.
Okay.
Make him stab himself.
So they have a scrap, and he's able to win and kill the kid with his own dagger.
Okay, and then that's when he's like, oh no, I killed somebody else. And then he starts going down that path where it slowly, at each, like, because I'm thinking like this, kind of like,
we're building that callus of him being okay with murdering people.
Yeah. And he's like, man, I grew up with that kid. We robbed so many people together. We hung out. He was a good guy.
Good times.
He didn't fuck my mom, so.
Yeah. One of the few that didn't have sex with his mom. Well, what I'm wanting to try to get to is a point where we got to get him on a path other than just running. So he's in this town. He has this altercation. He's pickpocketing stuff, and at some point, he finds a new character that he either another kid around his age, maybe a little bit older, that he's working with, or maybe it's somebody that kind of takes him in and shelters him, but isn't like a good character, and just kind of gives him like a safe haven for a little bit, and from there we can figure out what the direction is and what he's trying to do next.
I think this person, like, he kills that kid, but he knows the others are out there looking for him. And like this is the last shred of humanity. I mean, not the last shred of humanity, but this just shows a little bit of humanity he has in him, even though he's killed 3 people. He's like, I know these people are coming to look for me. I don't want this person to get caught up in that. So he leaves, and he's on the run again. But through his adventure, through his run, he keeps meeting these Kalanki kids who are looking for him, and each time he's having to kill them. Like it's like Highlander, pretty much. There can only be one, and it gets to the point where he's like, I'm tired of Kalanki sending these people after me. I'm going back. I'm gonna take out Kalanki because that's the only way I'm gonna be free.
Okay.
And by that point,
I'll say at this point he's got to be like somewhere between 16 and 18. Like I'd say a couple years has went by. He's been dealing with this, trying to make a living as like a street urchin getting by. And like all these kids keep getting murdered and stuff like that, and it just slowly but surely, I would say the attention starts coming to him for some reason, and so he gets to the point where he's like, I got to get out of here. I got to go back. I gotta take care of business.
Right. So, how many people has he killed so far? Has he killed anybody besides the Kalanki kids?
I would say there's been people that he's robbed that didn't work out. He's murdered them. I would say that's what I wanted. Is I wanted him to get hooked up with some people that basically hire assassins, and he becomes like one of their assassins that goes out and just kills people. That becomes his new job. Like he's like a hitman kind of.
Yeah, I say he'll pick that up, and then during an assassination job, one of the Kalanki kids finds him. When he's trying to be secretive and take out this guy, and he's like, Alistair, and he loses the mark, and he without even talking to the kid says Alistair, he just turns and just slits his throat and then runs.
And that ends up being his little brother you never knew he had the whole time.
What a twist.
No. So what I want to have happen is he goes back to confront Kalanki, and when he gets there, it's not necessarily a trap, but he doesn't win. He gets captured and he's sent to wherever, and Kalanki captures him. There's like a scene where he's like tied up and in the back of like a wagon or something like that, and he talks to a guy and he's like, thanks for finally getting him to us. We'll take him to the boss. They take him to the boss and he's there, and
you're awake.
Similar to how the situation was with Theon Greyjoy in Game of Thrones. He's captured and he's tied up and he's tortured and everything, and the people are basically just coming in and telling him, say, look man, this could have been over a lot quicker, but you've caused a lot of pain and a lot of difficulty for us throughout these years because you didn't want to come forward in the first place. He said it could have been quick, could have been over with. And so now I would say he's captured by the leader of this organization. We probably still haven't seen his face or who he is, and he's now trying to, I guess he's just in there being tortured and he doesn't really know what to do. And now I have an idea of what happens next, but you go ahead.
How long has he been doing hits?
I would say at least a year. Let's say, how old are we saying? Are we saying he's 16 or 18?
I'm saying 18.
Okay, let's say he's 18 now. So he's been doing it, I'd say, since he's 16. I'd say around between 14 and 16, he was just a petty thief. Probably killed a few people. Got hooked up with a new guy. Not as big of an organization, but a small organization in this other town. What's this name of this other town?
The Thatches.
The Thatches. Okay, so he's in Thatches, and he's hooked up with some not as big of a town as Avalon. He's hooked up with them, and so for the past 2 years he's climbed the ranks as one of their assassins, and he's now kind of a noteworthy hitman that they have.
Okay, and noteworthy. The organization picks up on this. It's like, hey, you've been doing hits, and you've made a good reputation for yourself. We're willing to forgive all debts if you do if you do hits for us.
Okay, now I got a different way that the story could go. He's in there being tortured and stuff, and they come in there one day, and the guy's like, "Good news, today's the last day. We're gonna go ahead and boss said we're wasting too much time with you. We're just gonna go ahead and end you. You know, the fun's over with." And that same day, a hero comes in out of nowhere, who, for different reasons, he's been doing quests and getting into the organization. And this is the day that he's finally coming in there, and he's destroying the organization. Just think of any sort of video game where there's this hero whose his whole sole purpose has been to break through this organization and everything. And he gets in there and he finds him torturing this person. He thinks this is some sort of good guy, so he sets him free. And so you're just sitting there being tortured. Guy comes in there, just such skill and cunning, kills this guy. And he's like, hey, what's going on? He's like, they've been torturing me. He's like, all right. And he lets him free, and he gets on out of there.
Sounds good to me. I like that.
I don't know what happens next, but yeah, I think that sounds fun.
So does the organization go down?
I would say it goes down like Team Rocket does in Pokemon Red and Blue. It goes down, but it's not defeated. The leader's still out there. I think as far as this is the end of the chapter of that organization that involves this kid. There's no real reason for him to be. They have more problems going on now than this kid, unless we want him to link up with this hero character and kind of be a part of that. But he can never turn over. He doesn't become that good guy. He kind of like he worked in this organization. He was a pickpocket. Then he was a hitman. Now he's kind of like working in and trying to become a hero. And then, so he's developing all these skills, and he just always turns to crime and that sort of life because that's what he knows. And that's what he feels like he deserves with everything. And so he becomes this like deadly murdering machine. So I'd say for like a little bit there, like a couple of years, maybe 5 years, he's a good guy doing all this sort of stuff. And then like, he's always... Like, you'll see, like, movies and stuff where the two good guys are there with the bad guy, and the one good guy shoots the bad guy. And the other guy's like, we're not like that. We don't do that. Well, he is. Alistair is. He's that guy in Batman that'll use a gun, and he'll kill the guy. He's not putting up with their bullshit. And so he just, eventually, he gets kicked out of the Heroes Guild or whatever it is that they're in. And he's like, well, fuck you guys. I'll go back to doing what I do best. And he becomes, I guess, that's when...
How about this? When, instead of getting kicked out of it, maybe he gets in an argument with another hero after the hero spots him pickpocketing, at the bar just for fun. He's like laughing. He's like, I just stole 3 silver off that guy. And he's like, we don't do that. And they got in a bar fight, and he accidentally, he's not been known to kill. He's got that drive in him, that bloodlust, and he slits the hero's throat. Not the hero that saved him, but just another person in the guild. Yeah. And then now the guild's after him.
Okay, so now he's this wanted man by the Heroes Guild, and also he's at this point he's over the edge. He's a murdering machine, and he'll murder and kill anybody at the drop of a hat to get whatever he needs, especially in this situation where he's running. And so I would say at some point he tries to fake his death. He tries to fake his own death and be able to hide. And so,
yeah, he comes up with this Machiavellian plan where he decides, he's like, well, what I'm going to do, I want them to think I'm dead. There's a cliff near here, near this town. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take over the town and draw the heroes in to come after me. And then that's where he fakes his death. Like, he'll take over the town, kill a bunch of people. The heroes come in, and they're trying to stop him. And when he does, he leads them on the chase. And he kind of Velma Louises it, except it's just him and his horse, and he just goes over the edge. But what the heroes don't know is he set up some kind of contraption. He has a dead body waiting on the ledge, and he throws it off, and let the heroes think. Maybe does he pick up a magical item?
Let's think about that for the next couple minutes. I'm gonna go use the bathroom.
All right, go ahead and set up the be right back. I'm gonna grab me another drink.
All right, sounds good. All right, everybody, we're back. Still waiting on Matt, but I'm back at least. So we got us I don't know, crazy tale. I feel like a little bit of it's been rushed, but like when we're doing these sort of things, we're trying to brainstorm like the basic idea of the story. So if it actually come down to putting pen to paper, this story would probably actually end up not being a lot different. It'd be the same sort of feel and the idea of it, but there'd be a lot more details fleshed out in different parts of it. right now. We're just trying to figure out where it's going. I think that's what the struggle with this story is with the story of a hero. You know what his story and his ambitions and goals are. With a story like this, the story of a villain, what does it get to? What is it building up to? And so I'm thinking I've come up with a possible answer to that question, but we're going to see between me and Matt how it works out and exactly where we decide to go. And he's back right now, so see what he has to say.
What's up?
So I was saying that usually with the story of a hero, it's really easy to kind of come up with his goal and purpose in life and what his big mission is. With the story of a villain, it's kind of hard to kind of come up with that hard, this is what his story is, this is what his plan, this is what his goal is, because we don't know. A lot of his life so far has just been him surviving, getting by. But I have an idea of where I think it could build up to for him to become that Reaper, that Avalon, the Reaper of Avalon, and be this big villain that I want to try to get him to be. And so, do you remember where we were exactly?
Yeah. He had just killed a hero from the Heroes Guild.
And the heroes are now after him.
Yeah,
and he's faking his death.
Yeah, he's about to fake his death. We haven't decided how he's going to do that. I said that he was going to take over a town to draw the heroes in, and then fake his death that way. I don't know how he's going to do it. I thought something about over a cliff, but
just something simple. Oh, I got an idea. So I would say he fakes his death. I don't really know exactly how. Let's say that he does. He throws himself off of a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Let's say I don't want to just breeze past it. But let's say the heroes get him to the cliff, to the edge of the cliff. This is what he planned on, and he already had.
A vanishing spell or anything? Does he have?
Yeah, that's what it was. I was gonna say, does he have any magical weapons that he's acquired? He's killed a lot of people, so if he's killed anybody that would have a magical weapon, he would have. It's real easy to say he has a magical weapon. I think with his line of work, something he's either sought after or he's maybe there was a time where he's found a mage or someone and forced them to enchant a cloak for him to have a vanishing cloak or something.
I was thinking actually instead of a vanishing cloak, I was thinking like a duplicator, like an after image.
Okay.
And so what happens is he'll drag the coat.
Let's say this, just since he's and I'll go with your idea. I'm sorry, but let's say that he's hired a mage to work for him, and so the plan is him and the mage. He's running up to the cliff side, and the mage is over there, and he runs behind the tree or whatever where the mage is, and the mage sets an after image of him, and so the heroes come up, they see him at the edge of the cliff, and he jumps off, and they watch him fall and die to his death, and they think he's dead.
Okay. No, this mage gonna be.
And then he murders the mage.
Oh well, the heroes is like, well, we need to get down to the cliff and find his body, make sure he's dead. So what Alistair does is he throws the mage over. He just tosses the mage over the cliff.
Okay, and we could just say that, yeah, they go down there. How does that work though? I guess they're on the way to the. But I mean, yeah, if they're on the way down there, how are they not going to see him throwing? How are they not going to see this other body suddenly fall over the cliff?
What I'm saying is, he doesn't. He didn't even have to hire a mage. He just has a hostage that looks sort of like him, dressed, and he put him in clothes like his. And once he gets to the tree, or the maybe a tree, a stone, something where it cuts off the hero's field of view, what he does is he has the vanishing cloak. Say he has something that makes him invisible. He takes the hostage and tosses the hostage over.
But I mean, how are they not going to see him tossing the hostage is what I'm saying. I'm trying to envision this where they see this person standing by the edge of the cliff and nobody else, and they see that person go over the edge, and they think that he dies and goes down there and tries to find the body. How do they not see Alistair in all this?
I'm saying like the stone or group of trees, cuts off their field of view. All they hear is somebody screaming as they fall over the cliff. They don't see it happen, but they look over the cliff and they see a dead body down there. They see some gore on the rocks.
I don't think it's a well thought out plan on his part, and I feel like his plan would be a lot better than that because they could have been closer on his tail and saw everything. You know what I mean? So he wouldn't have left room for that possibility, I feel like. I mean,
So
with riding, you can ride anything the way you want it to be. I do like the idea of him hiring this mage to do this, and then the mage is like, why are they after you? And he's like, doesn't matter. And then he kills the mage because at that point that solidifies him as this evil murderer, doesn't care about nothing, only trying to survive kind of person.
Yeah,
so, I get the idea of them wanting to go down and look for the body, though. I understand that completely. That's my struggle with the version of it that I'm coming up with right now.
I'm thinking like it cuts closer to home with him tossing an innocent person, like not a criminal mage or mage for hire type person, but just like an innocent person who was just trying to live his life, and it gets kidnapped by this guy, and he's just using him to fool somebody, using his life to fool.
Well, I agree that that's bad, but I think also hiring somebody to do something and then double crossing them and killing them is more cold than just killing a random person. Me personally. Okay. And I think, again, other than the whole idea of what about the body, I would say maybe that's part of it. Let's do both. Let's say that for him to use this after image spell, he has to have another body there. And so in reality, it's a guy that's like kind of like tied up, standing there jumping, and he doesn't know what's going on. He's like, they plant him there at the edge of the cliff, and the people, they come up and they're like, all right, we finally got you trapped. But to them, they see the image of the kid, Alistair, and because that's what the mage is putting a spell to make him look like that. And so they pull out a gun or do whatever, and they kill him and push him over the edge of the cliff, or shoot him, and he falls over the edge of the cliff. And so to them, they just saw him get shot and killed, and it's really just a random person. And then the mage is like, what the fuck is going on? I didn't sign up for this. Mm-hmm. So how do you like that? A mix of both of the ideas.
That's good. I like it.
That way it has a body, it has the anonymity we need. And then after things...
I'm just going to sit there and remind people, this is all off the top of our heads. This isn't written down.
Yeah.
If we had it written down, I'm sure we could explain it in a more cohesive way.
And that's what I was saying in the thing. Like, if we actually put pen to paper and wrote down a story here, it would probably be different. And it would be the same sort of idea. It would just be more fleshed out on the details of things. Mm-hmm. So, and like this whole scene could be totally different. We might be able to come up with a better thing once we sat down and thought about it a little bit more. So I would say that happens. Him and the mage get out of there. The mage starts flipping his shit like, look, man, this isn't what I'm here for. I thought you just needed me to do a little spell. That kid's dead now. And so he's like, don't worry, it's not your problem. He kills him, and then he leaves. And so now in his mind, he's at this point, the transition has been made. He is now the villain. And so he's mentally, in his mind, he owes nothing to nobody. He's a free man. He can do whatever he wants, but he's twisted now. He has gone over the edge. And so what he's thinking right now is in his mind, because this is me trying to get him to be that villain, to get to that villain status, is he wants to go and be the harbinger of death, and to kill all these people that have done him wrong in his life. And the only thing that was ever good to him in his life was his mother. And his mother was a prostitute, and all these people in that city was going in there and having sex with his mom. And he holds that as, he's upset about that. So his plan now, as his goal, is to go back to Avalon and to systematically murder everybody that had ever went through that brothel. First he goes through, murders everybody in the brothel, women, men, everybody. and then he gets the ledger, finds everybody that he can that's ever been there, and he starts murdering everybody, and he becomes the Avalon Reaper.
Okay, so we're ending this. This is how. He does
I mean,
it.
do you like that idea? Do you want to come up with something
Yeah,
better? I'm just trying to find out a way for him to be that villain. For him to
Just
get to
know if you
that
want-
point where a person will walk in a city and be like, what's going on here? And they're like, there's this guy murdering everybody. It's like, okay, let me go find that person. That's the villain. That's his backstory. And that's where these two will clash heads. And so there could be a second story. We could have a hero come in there who's after the Avalon Reaper and finds out it's this guy that used to be a part of the Heroes Guild. And that could be their whole cat and mouse game that they play there.
The song with the Banshee.
Oh, that was another thing I wanted to do. Was whenever he faked his death, I forgot about that. Whenever he faked his death, the Banshee came up to him, and like the Banshees, because these aren't all-knowing, all-seeing beings. They find him in his sleep one night. And it's like, you're supposed to be dead. What's going on? He's like, no, that wasn't me. They're like, well, our books say that you're dead. You need to give us such and such to pay for that. And so that helps propel him to the idea of going and like it's one of those things where he owes so many lives to the Banshees for him faking his death. It's like part of his debt or something. We could make it work a little bit better, but and so that's a part of his reasoning to go back to Avalon and murder all these people to pay his debt and to free himself of this curse and to also right all the people that he feel like have wronged him in his life or wronged his mother.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that works. So we may pick this story up again at some point. Do we? Are we doing these twice a month, like we talked about?
I want to do. We'll see. Nothing. No hard plans just yet. I was wanting to try to do them once a week, but
Okay.
we'll see. It'll definitely be 2 times a month when we actually do these, and you can check out the YouTube channel, and there will be highlights of this and edited down and full versions of the podcast and everything, so y'all can check that out there as well.
So we have the Avalon Reaper. He is. You want to do the summary?
All right, yeah. So we have this kid. He's born to a father that has a cow with only one leg, and he's just not able to make ends meet. His mother, to help out the family, is going in, and they live in the hamlet of a town called Avalon. It's a big city, a big town, and she goes there and works in the brothel. The dad, he's a drunkard and a failure, and there's a curse that's on their family that causes them to basically have bad luck and have failure in life, and that's from his ancestors finding this forest that's called Marrowood, which is a big bone forest, and there's these banshees and other entities within this forest that want to stay secret there. So now, every time somebody dies, a part of that family, they then bring them to the Marrowood. And so, his dad is drunkard, pretty much hitting around the son. He can't stay at home and work with his dad on the farm because his dad's a piece of shit. So he goes to the brothel with his mom, and he hangs out in the city, meets up with some bad kids. Over the years, he becomes a pickpocket working with them and becomes a part of this organization called Kalacki's Kids. And Kalacki is the recruiting leg of this wider criminal organization that recruits kids into their ranks. He allows them to work for them. He saves up money for them. And as they reach 18 or 16, he'll then give them their inheritance from the money, that part of the money they've earned, so they can go about their own way. Most of the time, they do continue on in the organization and find a different branch of the organization that fits them well. And I can't remember exactly what had happened. What was it that caused him to go and kill his dad?
The kid's having sex with his mom.
Oh yeah, when some of the kids hit level 16, hit 16 years old, they to rub it in Alistair's face because they always treated him like shit. They went and they all took turns having sex with his mom. This set him over the edge. He went and complained to Kalacki and everything. And Kalacki basically was able to convince him that the root of the problems was his dad. So he gives him this dagger that was crafted by the organization and has their emblem on it. And he goes home His dad comes in drunken stupor, slaps him up and down a little bit, and then he just turns and he just stabs his dad hundreds of times, how many ever times, kills him. His mom walks in, tries to stop him, and in that little bit of a fit, he accidentally stabs her too, and he runs out of there, leaving the dagger. He goes back to Kalaki. Kalaki tells him, look, man, they're going to come. Kalaki smacks him around a little bit and says, what are you, stupid? You left the knife there. They're going to come for me now. You need to go get that. He runs back to get the knife, and when he gets there, there's a banshee coming and grabbing his father to take him to the Marrowood, and says, your day will come soon. And he freaks the fuck out, and he gets out of there, and he runs to another town called, what was it, Thatcher? Or Thatch? Thatches. He runs to another town called Thatches, and he starts working there as a pickpocket, trying to get by. And just over time, he gets to where killing slowly becomes easier. He has to kill a few people that he pickpockets and stuff like that, and eventually it grabs the attention of a new organization that hires him as a hitman, and he becomes a hitman in this town. And all the while, Kalaki has been sending his kids out there to hunt him down and find him, along with the because the head leader of the place, they had to deal with all the heat that came about their dagger being found on these dead bodies. So they're sending these kids out there to find Alistair, and Alistair is killing them one by one as they come. Eventually, how did he end up getting captured? He got fed up with it. He decided he was going to use all of his new skills, and he was going to go and kill a Kalaki. He gets there. It's an ambush. He ends up getting captured, and he's being tortured. Never meet the main guy of the criminal organization, but while he's in there being captured and tortured, one day a hero comes in, and a hero goes and he just wipes through the organization, breaks it down as much as he can, and he saves Alistair, and Alistair joins this hero organization. He works with them for a few years. And then one day, what was it that caused... Oh, Alistair, he was more of a kind of like shoot first and ask questions later kind of guy. If you're a bad guy, he was going to kill you. He didn't care about the right side of the law and making these people stand trial. He would murder people. And this caused him and another hero to kind of get into it in the middle of a bar one day. And he ended up killing that hero. And then he had to flee again and run from the heroes, and the heroes are chasing him. He's having to kill heroes left and right, and eventually he gets a new plan where he's gonna cause a lot of mayhem in Thatches. All the heroes are out to get him. He hires a mage they set a trap for him to fake his own death. The mage is sitting waiting with him as they have this other person tied up at the edge of the cliff. All the heroes, all they see is this is a person that looks just like Alistair, and so they shoot him, and he falls off the cliff and he dies. The mage is then freaking out, like, look, man, I didn't know any of this was going to happen. I thought we was just here to do a job. Alistair ends up killing the mage so nobody can find out about it, and he starts a new life, or in his mind he's dead. He's going to start a new life. Then he is approached then by the banshees, who come and see and say, look, we thought you were dead. You have a debt to pay. You have to pay us our debt. And he strikes up a deal with them to give them enough lives to suffice for his and his following generations, so that he can free his family of this curse. And so he then goes back to Avalon and becomes the Avalon Reaper. And he goes and he murders everybody in the brothel that works with the brothel. Whores, owner, everybody, patrons, whatever it is, merges them all, gets the ledger, finds everybody that's ever frequented in there before, and in his mind he's avenging his mother and his family's legacy by killing all these people and delivering them to the banshee. And that's what he does. He'll kill them and then bring their body to the Marrowood, sacrifice them, go back and kill again, and he becomes the Avalon Reaper.
Love this story.
Do you really?
Yeah, actually,
it's not bad.
I wouldn't mind.
It's
I wouldn't mind actually putting pen to paper on this one. But
Yeah.
we've said that before.
Boy, do we. Boy, I want to hear about how those centaurs, how that stuff worked out. But I really like, I was thinking about that during all this. Like, it was fun doing this again. And that's nuts and bolts. That's what this is, man. And that's what I enjoy doing, is coming up with these, having like at the beginning I said Avalon Reaper. It doesn't always work out this way, but we had this idea that off of you saying him eating Carolina Reapers, I came up with Avalon Reaper, and then it's fun to try to figure out how do we get to that character. And
we do.
I know, yeah.
I didn't think, like, you came up with Marrowood, and I was like, Bonewoods, and it just all fell into place, man.
Yeah.
This is why I love doing this kind of shit.
Yeah, it's fun. It's definitely a good exercise too, because it forces you to sit there and come up with character names or come up with this or what happens next. And I think once you're into the thicket of creating your own story, you gotta be. There's no way you're not a little bit better at it.
Mm-hmm. Well, everyone, I want to thank you for joining us. I've been Matt, and I'm joined by my best friend.
My name's Tom. We appreciate you guys all coming and checking us out. This has been The Rough Craft, and we will talk to you guys again at a later date and time. Thank you.
See you guys. And I'm going to stop the recording now.